hello. Please give me a second. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. What was that? Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. My stream started automatically on my on my laptop over there, and some really wild music started to play. I am so sorry. I quickly had to mute the laptop. So here we go. Relatively spontaneous stream here. And I can see that somehow, do you see that as well? Somehow the aspect ratio of the screen is absolutely weird. Why does this journal look so weird on the screen? Do you see that as well? That is absolutely strange. Hello everyone. Auch an diejenigen, die noch arbeiten. Ich warte mal kurz, bis ein paar Leute hier angekommen sind. I will quickly wait. How can you wait quickly until a few people arrive here? Yeah. You wrote it looks tall and skinny. I see that as well. Can I do something about that? That is absolutely weird. I've tried to zoom out a little bit, but now I have to wait until it gets somehow, it's a little delay. This is absolutely weird. I have no idea why that happens. Perhaps if I do it like this. Okay, let's try it like this. I'm hoping that no, it is still very tall and skin. I'm really hoping that it doesn't matter so much for what I want to do here, but this is really nerve-wracking. Christine, you are asking if I can give you the link to the fluff. I can try that, but I have to say I bought the fluff on Amazon, and I'm not sure if it's still available there, but if I can find it, then I can, of course, give you the link. Kevin, du fragst, ob ich irgendwann mal wieder deutsche Videos mache oder nur Englisch. Sagen wir mal so, ich habe da so eine kleine Überraschung für die nahe Zukunft für euch. Kann ich aber jetzt noch nicht drüber sprechen, weil sonst wäre es ja keine Überraschung mehr. Aber geplant ist, dass es erstmal nur auf Englisch bleibt, weil ich das leider nicht anders bewerkstelligen kann. Sieht immer noch komisch aus, Astrid. Tja, ich glaube das auch. It still looks totally weird, but I'm really hoping that that will not matter so much for what I want to do, because what I thought is I wanted to make some little labels for my MESSY CATMAS journal, which you can see here, and I thought I do that relatively spontaneously live here, because I thought perhaps some of you are sitting around and are bored or whatever, and perhaps you want to craft along with me. So this is your chance. This is my MESSY CATMAS journal, and you can find all of the information about this down below in the description box of this video. There's a paper collection which is obviously also called Messy CATMAS. It's a junk journal kit. You can find all of the things down below. And there's also something called Messy CATMAS Junk Journal Backstage Pass available on HEINZL TV. The link to that is also down below in the description box. And this is a whole class where you can learn how to make such a journal with your own materials, in your own style, and, you know, with your own colors and everything. Everything is linked down below. Kevin schreibt, alles klar. Man, gut, dass man die Videos auf Deutsch stellen kann, bloß ist die deutsche Stimme langsamer als das Original. Ja, Kevin, das ist leider so. Und das ist auch teilweise sehr nervig. Finde ich selber auch. Aber ich freue mich trotzdem, dass es das gibt, weil ohne das wäre ich ehrlich gesagt ziemlich aufgeschmissen. Und deswegen freue ich mich, dass es das überhaupt gibt. Das Journal, was ihr gerade gesehen habt, ist mein Messy CATMAS Journal. Dazu gibt es ein Junk Journal Kit. Die Links dazu sind alle unten in der Infobox verlinkt. Und es gibt auch etwas, das nennt sich Messy CATMAS Junk Journal Backstage Pass. Das ist ein ganzer Kurs, wo du lernen kannst, wenn du möchtest, wie du dir ein solches Journal, wie du gerade gesehen hast, selber machen kannst. Aus deinen eigenen Materialien, mit deinen eigenen Farben und so weiter. Das ganze Schlamassel ist auf Englisch, sollte ich vielleicht dazu sagen. Das heißt, die Voraussetzung dafür wäre, dass du Englisch verstehen würdest. Oder du sagst dir, ich kapiere es, obwohl ich kein Englisch verstehe und gucke mir das an und ne, verstehe das trotzdem, weil ich sehe, was sie da tut. So, das ist natürlich auch eine Möglichkeit. Okay, ich glaube, das reicht erstmal hier. Und warum zur Hölle nochmal habe ich jetzt hier kein schwarzes Stempelkissen? Das ist ja auch geil. So what I want to do is, I want to stamp some labels and I want to find some different ideas how we can do that with some leftovers. So I have taken out here some things, some of the leftover pages from the kit, and also, for example, some tags from the kit I printed smaller and I have left over something like this. This was originally something I, you know, have taken from my stash, and then I decided I wanted to have it in the journal. And, you know, leftovers, you can take whatever you like and whatever you might have. I also have taken out some stamp sets. This is the Field Notes stamp set. The number is CMS 396 by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. And I want to use this little label here. And perhaps even some of these numbers, but the labels first. And then I have label frames, CMS 264. And from this set, I want to use this and this. So the, you know, these are the two smallest labels here. Ich habe mir jetzt hier erstmal ein paar Überbleibsel rausgeholt, die ich noch so übrig hatte von dem Erstellen des Journals. Oh, Ninja ist auch da. Hallo. Und darauf will ich jetzt erstmal stempeln, aber ich will noch was anderes machen. Und zwar will ich da vorher noch was drauf werfen, bevor ich da drauf stemple. Before I stamp to this, I want to add some mediums here. I have some acrylic paints here. I've chosen old paper, crushed olive and forest moss. Ich habe erstmal hier diese Farben hier rausgesucht, weil ich will hier ein bisschen was raufschmeißen davon. Weil ich mir gedacht habe, es könnte ja ganz gut sein, wenn man versucht, hier aus diesem leeren Ding dann irgendwas rauszukriegen. This is a little bit empty. But that is good because, I mean, it's not good that it is empty, but then this is a good use for, you know, the rest of something. I mean, this is a leftover as well. I'm realizing my video title is really fitting what I'm doing here. Jetzt will ich das erstmal hier so raufschmeißen, ein bisschen so. And if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them into the chat. Falls ihr irgendwelche Fragen habt oder irgendwas hier nicht versteht, dürft ihr das selbstverständlich gerne in den Chat schreiben. I will put this aside so that that can dry over there. This one. Perhaps we can also use a little bit of this white frame here, but just doing it like this, so that it is not so visible that there is this frame from printing. Ich werde das auch ein bisschen hier über diesen Rand machen, weil dann können wir vielleicht dieses weiße Papier da auch noch mit benutzen. Und dann sieht man das nicht so, dass da dieser Rand vom Drucker ist. Sieht jetzt erstmal ein bisschen komisch aus. This looks really weird at first glance, but you know. Are you all already in Christmas mode? Are you already singing Christmas songs or putting up Christmas decoration? Seid ihr schon eigentlich so im Weihnachtsmodus? Also seid ihr schon hier so am Singen und so? Weihnachtslieder und hier so Weihnachtsdekoration? Christine is already in Christmas mode. Your name is really matching the question. Okay, so let's go with another color as well. I don't even know if I want to use, really want to use old paper, because here, this color here, for example, is already pretty much like old paper. So perhaps I can just skip that and go with a little bit of crushed olive. Ready to start with Christmas. Astrid ist noch nicht so weit. Ja, ich bin ehrlich gesagt bis auf dieses Journal auch noch gar nicht so wirklich so weit. Also von Weihnachtsdekoration kann man hier noch nicht sprechen. Wobei, so ein Weihnachtsjournal ist ja auch irgendwie Dekoration, wenn es irgendwo rumsteht, ne? Does a Christmas journal count as Christmas decoration? I do think so. Ooh, this looks really cool on here. For these papers, I have also scanned some of my original papers. I made something with some sprays, and then I've scanned them to include them in the digital collection. Für diese Papierkollektion habe ich auch ein paar von meinen Original-Hintergründen eingescannt. Ich hatte da so ein bisschen was gemacht mit Sprays und dann habe ich das eingescannt und dann da benutzt, um das in das digitale Design einzufügen. Oh, excuse me, I have a running nose. I quickly need to. I try to do that silently. Oh, holy cow. Okay, so then we should perhaps. This is already almost dry. I will give them a quick dry with my knead tool, so that we can stamp on these without any problems. Oh my goodness. If I could find a solution for this weird picture, oh my goodness, I would be so happy the screen for everyone who came in, just came in. Please excuse that the screen has such a weird aspect ratio. I have absolutely no idea why that is. I did everything exactly the same like I did it the past few times, and I didn't have a problem. This totally wrecks my nerves. Shall I perhaps quickly try to fix that again? It really wrecks my nerves. I'm trying to, please don't freak out. I'm trying to switch to the other perspective, to the other camera, and then back. Hi, now I'm here. Perhaps that helps. Let's see. Now I have to wait until my computer shows also what's going on here. Oh. What if I now zoom in? On my phone, it looks relatively normal. Let's quickly check that on the other screen. Not really. Not really. I am so sorry. It doesn't work. If anyone has an explanation for that, please send me an email or something later. I would really appreciate if anyone could tell me why that is. Let's go on. Oh my goodness. Those things really wreck my nerves. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to warm up my body a little bit at the stamp, you know. And I just want to stamp some like plain labels on here. Just in a row here. Because then when we cut them out later, they have all a little different design on them, which I really like. And I like to use these leftover papers for exactly for something like this. Because then you get a different portion on each of the labels automatically. Hi, Helen. Oh, Dan is also in the house. Hi, Dan. I have some problems with my screen and with the aspect ratio of the screen, and I have absolutely no idea what's going on here. But that will not hinder me to make these labels. Wenn man das hier so drauf stempelt, einfach so, das schaut jetzt ziemlich simpel aus, aber wenn man das so macht, dann hat man automatisch auf den einzelnen Labels so eine interessante Portion, ihr wisst schon, von dem Design. Und das ist eine ziemlich coole Möglichkeit, finde ich, um so Überbleibsel aufzubrauchen. And we can of course also, is this too small? Let's try that. Oh, cute. We can of course also stamp around what we have here. Oh, hello to Paris. Bonjour, madame. Now I can finally say that sentence as well. Oh, that is cool. What do we want here? What we also could try is, I mean, I wanted to do that later, but since I see it here, let's do it like this. If you stamp them pretty close to each other, then you can also later on cut the whole thing, and you know, don't cut them separately, but in one piece. And then this could also become a pocket or a belly band or something. Wenn man die so dicht aneinander stempelt, dann kann man sogar später, ich wollte das eigentlich erst auf einem anderen Blatt machen, aber das ist mir jetzt gerade aufgefallen, dass das hier total gut geht. Dann kann man die später so im Ganzen ausschneiden, anstatt einzeln. Und dann kann man daraus zum Beispiel eine Tasche oder ein Bellyband oder sowas machen. Oh. Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you. Oh. Dan, I already wanted to message you. Ask how you are, but now I know it. Oh my goodness. Get better soon. I'm really hoping that you have enough of your green tea. What was that? Ginger, honey stuff. In the morning I thought I also get a cold, but it seems to behave. The cold, I mean. And stay away. Oh, I can't see this. Dan, please behave, okay? Thank you. Okay, so these are, I think, already pretty cool. And what I then wanted to show you is if you, for example, think, okay, I have a stamp which matches the paper or the journal, what could you then do? Was ich euch auch noch zeigen wollte ist, wenn man zum Beispiel den Stempel hat, der zum Journal passt oder zum Thema des Journals. Also entweder zu dem Papier, was man da benutzt, oder wo zur Hölle ist denn jetzt bitteschön mein... Where the heck is my masking tape? Oh, here we go. Dann kann man das auch sehr geil in diese Labels einbauen. Did I give it to you through the phone? Oh, now I get it. Yeah, obviously. Be careful if you watch Daniel Evans live streams, because that could happen that you then get a cold as well. I'm trying to behave. But it's not so easy to behave with such a stamp in my hand. Now the paper is too small. Okay, we will do this anyway. We need a label which can fit on here. The paper is definitely too small, Louise. We need another portion. Well, let's try it here. So I want to choose a portion. Why are you always quiet when you are here? I mean, I'm happy when people write something in the chat. You don't need to be quiet. This portion is a little bit, it would be enough space, but it's so, I feel not so flexible with that portion, because what I want is, I want to first place the stamp here. I mean, under the thing here, then I can see what I'm doing. And then I want to decide where I want this label to be. Like so. And if you want to save space, you can also take a pencil or something and mark here where this thing needs to go in a second, so that you still have enough space here. You know, this, if you would accidentally place it like so, then you wouldn't have enough space here anymore. And that's why I like to mark it here, so that I later on know what I'm doing. Then we stamp this cat. Ich habe mir das jetzt da so markiert, damit ich gleich weiß, wo ich das hinstempeln will. Damit ich nicht aus Versehen zu weit nach rechts komme und dann nicht mehr genug Platz habe für das Label. Und dann kann man das hier so drüber halten. Und das muss ja nicht auf einen Millimeter genau sein, ne? Aber so ungefähr. That looks very cool. And now I want, let's give this a quick little dry. Ich werde das vorsichtshalber hier ein bisschen anföhnen. Ich meine, die Archival Ink trocknet zwar ziemlich schnell, aber sicher ist sicher. And because I want to cut this out later, I like to think about how I could make my life very easy. This here would be a little bit hard to cut out, so let's make our life easy and bring that on the label. Holy moly guacamole. I will be back in a second. Oh. Did you hear that? My heater made some really crazy noises. We could perhaps even how do we want this? We could perhaps even do it like this. I want to see, no. That is proportionally weird. Let's try it like this. Yeah, okay, so that's the plan. So that means we need to mask the portion where this would stamp over the cat. If a card maker is watching, please don't laugh now, okay? Falls Sie irgendwelche Kartenbastler zugucken, lacht jetzt bitte nicht über mich, weil so wie ich das hier mache, ist das wie so ein Junk Journaler das macht, der kein Kartenbastler ist, okay? So this is how a junk journaler is doing something like this without being a card maker. And how to know where to place this now? Is there a transparent masking tape available somewhere? If yes, could someone send me something, an email or so? Falls irgendjemand weiß, ob es dieses Zeug in transparent gibt, wäre das sehr hilfreich zu wissen. Weil hier kann man natürlich jetzt nichts mehr sehen durch, ne, wie man das genau stempelt. Aber das hat trotzdem funktioniert. Guck. Ja, it's really calming that there are some people obviously in the chat who also don't feel as a card maker. But we can make beautiful things as well. I'm just kidding. So let's try that again with the cat. Could you use tracing paper? Does that, is that a sticky paper? Tracing paper, what is that? Oh no. Oh no. Did I move the stamp? Oh. This now looks very interesting. It's not so very black. A stamping platform would be really helpful here. Would have made sense if I would have taken it out. Oh, hi to Finland. So then, let's try this again. But with a different portion of the cat on the label. Perhaps here we can try it like so. Yeah, why not? And as long as this sticks, I am going to use it again. I mean, why not? My children brought home tuxedo black and white kitten about 3 months ago. Oh my goodness, trying to decorate this, it has been a puzzle. I never had a tree up with a kitten around. Oh my goodness, that's that sounds like a lot of trouble and fun at the same time. Tracing paper is like vellum but much thinner, but it doesn't stick, right? I mean, obviously you could, tracing paper. I think now I know what you mean. Okay, that could work, but this is sticky, and that is something I really find really helpful, because then, you know, it doesn't move when we do something like this. Shall we? Hi, Melissa. It doesn't stick. Okay, add some washi. Do you mean to my design here, or do you mean use washi instead of this? I'm just thinking, I think I want to... On this here, I think I can't stamp so well because it's textured. Because this is some watercolor paper. But when we cut them out, I mean, since we want to cut them out, we could perhaps... Oh! Hey, what? Why is this so black? I mean, this is very textured, and this worked just perfectly. Okay. Let me check the comments. Tracing paper is, to me, very different than vellum. It's transparent but behaves so differently. Okay. I think I need to buy some of that somewhere. I wonder if there's a light repositionable adhesive that you could spray on the back of tracing paper. Oh, that could be a solution. To spray something to the back of tracing paper, or then you could also use any other transparent stuff. I was also already thinking about, for example, overhead transparency or so, but that is also not sticking. But with a spray, that would work. Hier gibt es gerade ein paar Vorschläge auf Englisch, wie man andere Sachen, die durchsichtig sind, also ne, Materialien, die durchsichtig sind, die man zu diesem Zweck hier verwenden könnte, wie sagt man, klebrig machen könnte. Und es wurde gerade vorgeschlagen, einen Sprühkleber zu verwenden, der aber nicht komplett das runterklebt, sondern nicht komplett festklebt, Entschuldigung, sondern wieder ablösbar ist. Und dann könnte man zum Beispiel so eine Art von Spray auch auf transparente Sachen sprühen, wie zum Beispiel Overhead-Folie oder so. Und wenn man das dann hier drauf legt, dann kann man besser sehen, wo man stempelt. Das wäre eine Möglichkeit. Vellum tends to be stiffer than tracing paper. Blank printable A4 washi. It's translucent and sticky. Oh, but that sounds very expensive too, isn't it? I mean, perhaps I don't have enough knowledge about that, but the A4 washi, I know, you know, from I've seen in shops online, is very expensive. But obviously it could be an option. I don't want to say that it is not an option. Would definitely work. Jemand schlug vor, diese A4 Washi Bögen zu nehmen. Aber die ich bisher gesehen habe irgendwo, die man online kaufen kann, sind, finde ich, sehr teuer. Und da das ja später, ne, irgendwann, wenn es nicht mehr klebt, im Mülleimer landet, finde ich das jetzt ein bisschen sehr teuer. Aber es würde natürlich funktionieren. Also teuer für den Zweck. Vielleicht nicht unbedingt teuer an sich, aber teuer für den Zweck. I find these turned out absolutely cool. And very black. I didn't expect that. Die schauen ziemlich cool aus und die sind auch ziemlich schwarz. Habe ich eigentlich gar nicht so erwartet. Also die Tinte ist so schwarz, weil das hier ist die texturierte Seite von Aquarellpapier und normalerweise verkackt das ja eher da drauf, wenn man da stempelt. Okay, so then I will cut these out. And vellum melts and warps easily if you heat it and don't keep the heat tool moving around. Yes, that is unfortunately true. I'm putting a bottle in every room. Maybe clear sticker paper that has repositionable adhesive. That could also be a solution. I know some people also just use sticky notes. I mean, here the whole back is sticky, but I can imagine if you want to make something like, or create something like this, then you could also take just a sticky note, because what do you need here? You don't need the cat as the mask. So if this is like so, you know, a little bit, how do you say that? Then it wouldn't be a big problem. I would think for something like this, even a regular piece of paper would work, because you don't want to mask the cat 100% exactly. Here I have a little gap and I don't care about that. Here I have a little gap and I don't care about that, because, you know, it is what I wanted to have. And I also want to try something. Instead of cutting around here, I want to try to tear around here and see how that looks. I'm not so sure that I will like that. Naja. What do we think about this? I mean, every idea is worth a try, but this? Das schaut schon irgendwie ein bisschen sehr gewöhnungsbedürftig aus, oder? Was denken wir hier drüber? Helen likes it. It's like a cat's personality. Neat, calm, and then grungy, crazy. Yeah. My idea was, and that is why I did it here like so, where is my other sheet, to not cut these out. You know, these we've made in the beginning, but I wanted to try to tear them out, and that is why I came to the idea to already do that here. Let's perhaps skip, not skip, hop to this sheet so that we can see if we like it here, and then we can perhaps try some combination possibilities or so. Astrid findet das nicht gut. Ja, das auch nicht so gut. Astrid. But it's also, I find that very important, that you also try things where you perhaps think, oh, it could be that I don't like it. Because if you don't do that, you can't compare it with something else. And since I made two here, I can still use this and fuzzy cut around the cat here instead of tearing it, and then I can compare it. And I can, yeah, with that, somehow build an opinion. I find that pretty important. So here I want to try to tear around here, and I'm tearing this towards myself so that I get this white edge here. You could also do that in the other direction so that you don't get the white edge, or both variations. I think I will do that here. Ich habe das jetzt hier so ein bisschen abwechselnd gemacht. Einmal zu mir hingerissen, sodass dann hier so eine weiße Kante kommt, und einmal von mir weggerissen, sodass da keine weiße Kante kommt. And here I think I did a pretty good job so that we can just, tear them apart here. Hätte ich jetzt vielleicht ein kleines bisschen mehr Platz lassen sollen, dann wäre das auch vielleicht ein bisschen einfacher. Hey. Okay, but I think your comments are really funny. It seems that you are like two groups. Some like this and some don't. But that is good. Because if we all would like the same things, then that would be absolutely boring. Sieht ein bisschen so aus, wenn da so zwei Grüppchen im Chat wären. Die einen finden das toll und die anderen finden es kacke. Aber das ist auch gut so, weil sonst wäre es ja langweilig. And what do we think about something like this? Is this still a label, or is it just a piece of paper with a stamp impression on it? And I think I have absolutely no idea what you are talking about, Melissa. What's the difference in handle, question mark, and screen name? Ah, oh, I get it. Hey, but why can you, I don't get it. Why can you see that? How can you see that in the chat? That is weird. That is absolutely weird. Before I waste my and your time here, let's try something else. Let's cut these out, which are more concrete, because they have the half of the cat on here. Oh, Melissa, thank you so much for your donation. You've never made a thing I didn't like? Seriously? How is that possible? I really like the effect with the paint on here. And here we can't see anymore that there was the white frame from the printing. But I quickly wanted to cut these out to see if I can combine them with the ones I've torn out, or if that looks weird. Yeah, it looks like we have forgotten to cut them out. I thought that would be way nicer. Okay, so that means I will quickly cut this out. Nothing goes to waste. Definitely not. And if we would do it like so, then it already looks way better. Give me my stapler, please. Because I thought we could combine them like so. Just by stapling them. But I think, especially when there's an image, it comes out better when it's not torn. I mean, when the edges are not torn. My husband walks in the room and asks, is this the girl that threw her journal in the washing machine? Yes, it's me. Hello, husband. Oh my goodness. I will never, never, never in my life forget that. And to be honest, I'm pretty happy that I'm not there anymore. I mean, for some other reasons as well, but also because of that washing machine. I mean, now I can say it because I'm safe here, and it's safe that nothing happened to that washing machine. But I think for approximately 2 or 3 months after I made that experiment, I was thinking, when will the day come where someone from the campsite comes and tells me that I broke the washing machine? But I'm really lucky girl that that didn't happen. But I was pretty scared, to be honest. And that was also a pretty crazy time. In general, not only because of the washing machine experiment. But the good thing about living on the campsite was that if you had some slime, you know, from experiments, some leftovers, which you can throw out, you know, no toxic waste. not something like this, yeah, just some regular stuff which you usually would perhaps, you know, throw into the toilet or so. You could just throw it out of the door because there was a lawn around, and, you know, you could just throw it there. I like this way better when it's like so. Yeah, exactly, Melissa. Then we had a bottle of champagne. I think that was one of the last glasses of alcohol I had. Because well, that's perhaps a topic for another stream, but I decided that I don't want to drink alcohol anymore. I mean, I haven't had a problem or something like that with that, but for some reasons I decided that. Now, do you know what? Do you remember the color of the stuff in front of the washing machine? Somehow this reminds me of that color. Erinnert ihr euch an dieses Experiment, wo ich noch in Österreich gewohnt habe, auf dem Campingplatz, wo ich das Journal in die Waschmaschine geschmissen habe? Die Farbe, die da auf dem Fußboden vor der Waschmaschine war, sieht genau so aus wie das hier. Wie komme ich da jetzt drauf? Falls das einer gerade nicht mitbekommen hat, jemand im Chat hat das angesprochen, deswegen komme ich da jetzt gerade drauf. Aber diese Farbe ist echt so ziemlich gleich. Are those little scissors especially made for fuzzy cutting? I don't think so, Melissa, but they are really great for fuzzy cutting. These are by Tonic Studios and Tim Holtz. They have this thing here. And because of that, you can press it together and then it automatically opens. And I find them really good for fuzzy cutting. They even come with 2 different of these springs, I think is the word. This one is the one which is a little bit easier to press, but there's also one in, when you buy them, you automatically get both, which is a little stronger, so that this has a little bit more, resistance. Is that perhaps the word? And I find you have to get a little bit, into a little, I would think you would need to practice a little bit. I mean, that sounds weird, but I had to practice cutting with these. But when you are familiar with how this works, then it's really easy, and I find my hands don't get so tired when I use these compared to regular scissors, which you could use for fuzzy cutting. I think Tim thought that they were perfect for fuzzy cutting. Yeah, I was surprised. Do you remember that live stream where he, what was that? He cut something out there. Was that a pointy finger stamp impression or something where he said, yeah, no. These little clover thingies from this one stamp set. Oh, thank you so much for your donation, Mikan. That is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. I think it was a little clover stamp impression. He has cut that out, and he was very surprised that he liked cutting it, because he said that he is not a happy fuzzy cutter. And I totally get that, because sometimes that can be really nerve-wracking, especially when you have already an idea what you want to do with those fuzzy cut images, and then you have them on the sheet and you first have to cut them out before you can start. That can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but with these scissors it's really easy. Ich finde diese Schere sehr gut, wenn man solche Sachen ausschneiden will. Man muss das erst so ein kleines bisschen üben, wie ich finde. damit zu schneiden. Das klingt jetzt ein bisschen komisch, weil das ist ja eine Schere, also ne, was soll man da üben? Aber dieses Ding hier, diese Feder, die kommt so zurück beim Schneiden und die wird auch geliefert mit 2 verschiedenen Stärken dieser Feder, sodass du entscheiden kannst, welche du da reinmachst. Also vielleicht kann ich das auch noch gerade zeigen. Man kann die einfach so rausnehmen und auf der anderen Seite auch. Und dann kann man die andere reinmachen, wenn man das möchte. Und man kann die ja logischerweise dann auch zwischendurch ziemlich fixi-foxy hier austauschen. Und die andere hat ein bisschen mehr Widerstand. Also ne, da kann man sich dann erstmal entscheiden, welche man benutzen möchte. Ich habe da immer die gleiche drin, weil ich habe am Anfang einmal entschieden, welche ich benutzen will. Und dann habe ich die da drin gelassen. Man muss das erst ein bisschen üben, aber wenn man das mal raus hat, wie das für einen am besten funktioniert, finde ich die ziemlich cool, um damit so kleine Sachen auszuschneiden. They look like it's much easier when I see people fuzzy cut with those. He started to enjoy fuzzy cutting with those scissors. Yeah, I do think so. That somehow he enjoyed it. I think this would make a really cool pocket, but it's a little bit plain. Yeah, that is, yes, that is a pink stapler. That was one of the most terrible stories in my crafty life. I went to a local office supply, no, not even that, store in Austria, when I was living in Austria. And I wanted to buy just, you know, a regular stapler. I went in there and then suddenly I saw they have these in pink and in green. And I thought, okay, I wanted to have something neutral, but pink and green, you know. I like green, but it was also a really like a little bit weird green. So I thought, okay, I don't have many options. Let's take the green one and then let's leave the store because, you know, I was not alone there and someone was already wrecking my nerves because we also wanted to eat something and it was like lunchtime or something and we wanted to go to a restaurant and he was like, I'm hungry, me. And yeah, then I thought, okay, let's take the green one because that is perhaps acceptable. And then I came home and, you know, only on the package it was green. I mean, the package showed green, but it didn't open the package in the store because, you know, behave, you know. Don't open the package. Just buy it and then, you know, go away. And when I came home and opened that package, I thought I will lose my eyes because this pink is just so crazy. But I didn't want to, where's the other one? I didn't want to go back to return it because I thought that is also a little bit ridiculous. Ja, so war das mit meinem, jetzt hätte ich fast gesagt, grünen, pinken Tacker hier. Bin ich in so einen Laden gelaufen, weil ich einfach nur einen Tacker kaufen wollte. Und da gab es diese hier in grün und in pink, wie man auf der Verpackung von außen sehen konnte. Und dann habe ich mir gedacht, ja komm, ne, nimmst du halt grün. Und ich habe natürlich nicht im Laden die Verpackung aufgemacht, weil das macht man ja nicht als vorbildlicher Kunde. Und dann komme ich nach Hause mache die Packung auf und denke mir, meine Augen fallen raus, weil das Teil halt einfach gerade mal pink war. Bin ich natürlich nicht zurückgefahren und habe das umgetauscht, weil das hätte ich dann auch ein bisschen lächerlich gefunden. Und seitdem bin ich im Besitz dieses komischen pinken Packers. Melissa, yes. But, you know, there's a difference between the word with sh and the word with k. The word with k is not so extreme like the word with sh. Now I'm really asking myself, shall we, I think we will do that, shall we stamp a few like numbers and that stuff on these? This turned out totally different than I thought, but that's, I think, okay. Das ist jetzt hier irgendwie, da sieht das hier alles ein bisschen anders aus, als ich das eigentlich mir gedacht hatte, aber das macht ja nichts. Und ich habe hier sogar noch ein bisschen was übrig für später. Ist auch gut. Let me quickly try to organize this here a little bit. Everything I have not used now, I will put aside for later, because obviously this will not go into the trash can. But what I wanted to try is, oh my goodness, we don't need these anymore. Is it just me, or does the ginger cat remind you of a grumpy old man? To be honest, he reminds me of a person. In my journal, I have put glasses to this image. Where's my journal? And I mean, that is not coincidence that that happened, because without the glasses it's not so extreme, but with the glasses he reminds me really to a living, existing person. And I used some glossy accents for the eyes and a die cut for the glasses. Can I find this here now? Here we go. This die cut is from Zizix and Tim Holtz. I think is that from the, you know, from this set from the vault where the bunny and the egg is in the set, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I glued this on and then I added glossy accents, and now he is really someone. But it is good when the animals have names and when they have a character. I find that good. So let's then take some of these numbers here and just give these labels a little more interest. And I also want somehow, but I'm not sure how, I want some scraps behind them, so that they don't look like usual labels, because, you know, when I put them into my journal, then they somehow need to look a little different than regular labels. But I thought about someone else, light bulb, because Daniel's hair is not red anymore. I don't know if he's still here or if he already went away. I can't stand when I have to think about that. Oh my goodness. Now I have to think about a fired hairdresser. Hairdresser, is that a word? Hopefully. I thought about someone, I think I can say that here, because first of all, the person is not watching, and second of all, the person knows that you know, how I mean that. I'm thinking about someone I know from, yeah, I can already say my past life or so, because it's so long ago, and we are not in contact anymore. But there was someone from my orchestra where I played the saxophone for several years, and that was someone who always said, I can't do this or this or that on this or that day, you know, when we wanted to practice some songs or so, because I need to drive the bus. And that was his, like, you know, like a thing he always said. And he was a bus driver, yes, but he sometimes also used that as an excuse when he was not in the mood to do something, or when he just wanted to stay at home. And that saying, I need to drive the bus, that then became something like a regular saying, and was used for those situations where you thought, okay, I'm not in the mood for practicing something. Just say, I need to drive the bus. And everyone knew, okay, she's like refusing to practice or so. Just here without glasses. I like the idea of masking the numbers with the label stamp, like you did with the cat. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. That is, oh, oi, 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 oi. That is something I definitely need to try. Oh, whoa, whoa. That could then be something, if you have a label, and give me a single one. That is really cool, because then if you would take this and put that here, for example, mask the number, then you would still have the full surface of the label to write something there. Oh, but how would you then cut this out? Just around here, and then what then? Ink it or what? Not so sure about how to cut that out, but that is definitely an idea I want to try. Hopefully I will not forget it. Jens. No, stamp it like you did the cat. You mean like I did this cat and then mask the number instead of the cat and then stamp this? That's what you mean? Or perhaps I don't understand what you mean. That could also be possible. Chances are high that I just don't get what you mean. Sometimes I wish it was possible to, you know, spontaneously invite people, like with voice connection or so, or with video chat, if there's something to talk about. But that is unfortunately not possible here. Because then we could discuss those things more easily. Yeah, but you said yes, but instead of the cat, use the number. Okay, then I understood that correctly. But how would you, wait, let me quickly do that. How would you then, I'm wondering, how would you then cut around the number? Just in a rectangle or how? Let's try that. So you mean stamp the number? Mask the number. Do you have a Black Friday in Germany? Yeah, I'm sure that something like that is existing. But since I don't leave the house at the moment, no. The Ephemerimber is right in front of the door. I don't leave the house. I have absolutely no idea if some stores here are doing something like that. But I'm assuming they do. Okay. Now Jens understood what I mean, but I mean, that's great. But let's see. I mean, even, I wish I hadn't cut it here, even if you would have it on a strip like so, but a little more space here to the edge of the paper, that would also look really cool. Let's try that. I mean, then I would probably try to get a little bit of interest to this number by not cutting straight, but like so. Wait, give me a second, please. Ooh, stay here. That is absolutely fantastic. Approved, I would think. That is absolutely cool. I think I would not like it so much if I would have cut in a rectangular shape around here, because then if you would do that, this area around here looks absolutely naked, and here is then this frame, and I would find that weird. But that is cool. The question is, what was I doing before you brought me to that idea? Ah, I got it. I wanted to take some scraps and see how it would look. This comes closer to what I originally was thinking when I started this, because I wanted to include scraps so that it, so that it fits better to the style of the journal, and that it gets a little more messy and, yeah, different somehow. And I think this is a cool solution. This is just some corrugated cardboard with white acrylic paint. Ich habe das jetzt mal hier so gemacht, weil ich wollte, dass das, und das kommt hier schon dem, was ich eigentlich machen wollte, ein bisschen näher als das, was ich da eben hatte. Weil ich wollte, dass das so ein bisschen anders aussieht als so normale Labels, wisst ihr? Also weil damit das ein bisschen besser zum Stil des Journals passt. Weil das ja auch so ein bisschen jetzt hätte ich fast abgerotzt ist gesagt, aber abgerotzt ist nochmal was anderes, aber ihr wisst, was ich meine. Ziemlich viele so abgerissene Teile und so. Und dieses, wie ich das vorher da hatte, das hat mir überhaupt nicht gefallen. Mit dem um die Labels drum rumreißen, das schaut irgendwie ein bisschen blöde aus. Aber so ist das schon hier mal was anderes. Und das ist einfach nur Wellpappe mit weißer Acrylfarbe drauf. Can you do something with foamies on the back to play with levels? Ah, you mean, okay. You mean foam tape squares? That could be a nice thing, but I can't do that because then my journal gets so bulky that I, would get into trouble. And that's why I want to try to avoid something like that, but that's definitely a nice idea. Perhaps if you would use these on a card or so, that would be a nice thing. I will put a little bit of glue under here if it wants to come out. And then I will put a braid to the center so that we have a little flower on here then. And I find this also adds dimension somehow, even if it's not so high like it would be with foamies. Es wurde gerade vorgeschlagen, man könnte hier auch so kleine wie heißen die auf Deutsch? Schaumpünktchen. Ist das? Abstandshalter. Schaumpünktchen Abstandshalter. Wie nennt man die bitte? Ich bin mir sicher, dafür gibt es ein Wort. Benutzen. Damit man da so ein bisschen mehr Tiefe reinkriegt in diese Geschichte. Das würde mit Sicherheit funktionieren, will ich aber hier nicht, in diesem Fall nicht machen, weil mein Journal schon so fett ist. Wobei das natürlich durchaus eine Möglichkeit wäre, das zu tun. Und was ich mir auch gut vorstellen könnte, ist, wenn man diese Dinger auf einer Karte zum Beispiel verwendet, vorne drauf. Vorne drauf auf einer Karte, ja, womöglich hinten, Luise. Mein Gott. Natürlich vorne, wo denn sonst? Dann wäre es vielleicht auch schön, da so ein bisschen was dran zu machen, was dann so ein bisschen den Stil, den man da erreichen will, unterstützt. Wie zum Beispiel hier sowas. Aber ganz normale Schnipsel gehen natürlich auch. And since I only stapled it in the first step here, I can now add under the label whatever I want. I find that pretty cool because sometimes you see later what you want to add, or you find something where you think, oh, that could be a nice addition, and then you can still decide if you want, for example, to have it like so under the corrugated cardboard, or you can also still place it here if you want. Ich finde, Tacker ist ein ziemlich gutes Gerät für solche Fälle hier. Weil, jetzt kann man immer noch entscheiden, ob man hier noch was drunter machen will. That is a really interesting question, Lightbulb. I would think, so the question is, would you say you are compartmental making right now, or are you mask making? I find this is somehow mask making, but not everything looks the same. Yeah, for me, somehow in my brain, and I think it's really only in my brain, mask making has always this addition, but as I said, it's probably only me and my brain who is telling me that. Mask making has this like invisible addition that all the pieces you create need to be exactly the same. Somehow I have that, and I have this like negative undertone with that word, but it's just the word. I don't say that mask making is something bad. Yeah, please don't get me wrong. In this case, I would say it's not really mask making, and it's not really compartmental making, because we are doing the things here like a little like crisscross. With compartmental making, I think it's more strategic somehow than this is. The first step, where I stamped everything to my leftover sheets, that I would think could be seen as a first step of compartmental making. Then cutting or tearing the labels out would be a second step in my eyes. Then stamping the numbers, yeah, could also be seen as one step. But I find what I'm doing now it's hard to, for me it's really hard to press what I'm doing here into this frame of the term. Do you know what I mean? Because that can be seen so differently. I mean, what I will have in the end is some stuff for my journal, and I have a ton of labels, and I did several steps after each other, so you know, I would think it is compartmental making, but these last steps, for example, here's now a flower, but the flower is not everywhere else as well. I have the flower only here and not on all of them, and that makes it for me a little different, because with compartmental making, I would think we have more of the same things in the end. These are too different for me for compartmental making, even if that is not a problem. For example, for Defamorember, I also got some things from my compartmental making process which are absolutely not the same, and they are all different, even if they are made from the same components. But that is a really interesting question. And I also find it at this point really hard to stick to my strategy I had here, because when I started, and that is probably also because why you came to that question, it started like compartmental making somehow. I would agree if you would say that. And now it's getting somehow into something a little bit something else a little bit. But it is perhaps also only in my head. What else do we have here? But perhaps it's also because I really want to try to use up my leftovers here. If you would say I want to make labels and I want to have my flowers here, then you would probably think, okay, I need 20 flowers, I need 20 breads, I need 20 cut out labels in this size, 20 in this size. You know, you would perhaps do that a little more strategically also while preparing this. I don't know. I think so. Yeah, light bulb, that is another aspect. So you wrote, I thought compartmental making is you do a bunch of making without having a goal. Yes, that can also, you know, how can I explain that? I think that is what it originally, well, originally, what is that? When I need to, you know, go a little more back to what I experienced, back in time, I mean, when I heard about compartmental making for the first time, that was when Tim talked about it. And he has shown what he, or how he does it. He always said, you don't necessarily need a plan, and you don't need to have a project in mind when you do these things. And for me, it's really, it's a little bit difficult to talk about that now, because I have one video in December for you where I explain exactly what I would need to explain now in really extreme detail, and I don't want to, you know, if I would explain it now, the video in December would make absolutely no sense anymore. Because I think I found something really important, at least important for me, which makes it impossible to see this without knowing what I want to do with it. And I think it is also perhaps worth to check if you have something like that as well. The thinking of that, I mean. And I'm also convinced there are people who can just sit down and do something, die cutting, painting, die cuts, or whatever, fuzzy cutting, without knowing what to do with the pieces. And that can be very relaxing, I think. But I think there are also other people who just can't do that. And I also think it's not so good if we press this definition into such a narrow, in German we would say Schublade, So that would mean to press it into a drawer. Because I like to have more freedom with these things, and you know, all of these definitions make it perhaps somehow also a little bit difficult to really be creative, because when you think about these things and you think, why am I doing this here? Oh, I can't do this without having an idea, or I need to do this without having an idea. You limit yourself to something with that, and I find that not so good. Yeah, it makes it restricting, exactly that. I remember the very first junk journaling video I saw on YouTube had to do with label making, and I absolutely did not understand it. What do labels mean to you in the context of junk journaling? That is a really philosophical question. Philosophical? Oh my goodness. My English teacher asks me a question, and that means she's watching, and that is very embarrassing. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if I understand that question, Lightbulb. I have paper clips here. Philosophical is a word. Oh my goodness, that makes me happy. That doesn't look so nice. What do they mean to you? Yeah, I think I still don't get the intention of the question. Do you mean what are they giving me, or what do I use them for? Maybe they don't mean anything, that's fine. I find that a really difficult question. Where are my flowers? Both. Let me think about that. I mean, they have something special because they are so easy to make. That is probably one thing which I find really cool about them. And what I also like is that they are so versatile. And when you need something special in your journal, which is not very time consuming to make and so on, then I think labels are a really great thing. But I think that's all I can say. But they aren't really for labeling. Yeah, yeah, no, not at all. Well, that is perhaps a little bit too generic, but I think, yeah, well, I have labels on my cabinet where I store my components for my ephemera, but I don't have so many other labels here. I mean, for my shelf where I have my colored pieces. There are the labels from the Ranger palette, the names of the colors, but, and for example, where have I put that now? Here on these little drawers. I also have, oh my goodness, I can't turn this around. I also have some labels, but that's all. And I think in a journal, I've never used a label as something to label something. But if you would, for example, use them for a diary or so, then you could write a date or something. Then is that then labeling? Well, probably not. Not really. I'm so sorry. Ah, okay. Lightbulb just wrote, that's why I was so confused when I watched that first junk journal video. Okay, now I understand what you are saying. Yeah. Okay. If you start with junk journaling and a label making video is the first video you see and you think, labels are for labeling something, then you get confused. I get it. That is definitely a thing. It's really a little bit funny to use a label not for labeling something. The drawer labels are a good example. We see those labels and find them interesting and then want to add them to our journals. Like page tabs, yeah. Page tabs is another example for something like that. Yeah. To be honest, that is the first time I'm ever thinking about that. But it's perhaps also, that is perhaps also one of the reasons why I like junk journaling so much, because so many people ask, yeah, well, but wait, what will you do with that thing once you've finished it? Why would you put a leftover of texture paste with some glitter on this thing? For what is that then? I don't care for what this is because it's fun to make this, if that makes sense. But I mean, obviously it will go into my journal later and then it is something, or then it will become something and it has a sense there then. But in that moment where I make it, why shall I care about why I'm doing that or for what I'm doing that? I don't get that. I think we need more breads in here. This looks really weird when there are no breads. Diese Blümchen hier, die habe ich mir hier so einer Handstanze ausgestanzt. Wo ist denn jetzt meine Aale? Die ich mir neulich, vor einiger Zeit mal gekauft hatte. Aber wenn da in der Mitte nichts ist, ne, dann schaut das nicht gut aus. Ich muss die Löcher reinmachen. I use them when my pages stick together and make it easy to flip through the pages too. Light bulbs, it's slowly sinking in what you are trying to tell me here. And that is really a really interesting point. Oh, this is very, would be really helpful to have. Ah, that was so hard because here's the staple. Junk journaling for me is looking at ordinary things, paper labels, page tabs, paper clips, etc., and then putting them together to create something that amuses my eyes. Yeah, Jens. Exactly that. Exactly that. That is probably not the only thing why I would do junk journaling, but that is definitely a really good explanation for why you would do something like that. Das schaut so viel besser aus mit diesen goldenen Dingern da drin. Also ich würde mal sagen, das da ist fertig. Dieses ist fertig, dieses ist fertig. Hier fehlt noch so ein Ding. I find with these breads it looks so much more interesting and finished somehow. Why the heck is this so... Ah, it's because of the fluff. This fluff gave me so many headaches. Oh my goodness. When I recorded the Messy Catmas class for the backstage pass, this fluff, it was everywhere because these tiny pieces which came off went to the floor, and you know, no time to clean the floor, and then everything was everywhere. Really nerve-wracking, but totally worth it because it looks cool. What is that fluffy stuff? I bought I didn't expect that becomes such a big question. Of course, I will tell you where I got it. I bought that on Amazon. Please try to search for eyelash trim. This is not eyelash trim, but if you search for eyelash trim, you will hopefully find something like this. Because that's how I found it, even if it's not really eyelash trim. To be honest, I don't know how this is called, but you could also search for fake fur or fur wool or something like that. Then you also can find something similar, and I stained this with alcohol ink. You found it on eBay. How is it called? Long eyelash yarn. Okay, that is, thank you. That is very helpful, Melissa. Oh, I like this. This for me would also work in another context, not necessarily only in this journal. But that's good. If I have some pieces left over later, then I can also use them for something else. Ooh, no, 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 no. Behave. I think this should stay like it is. And what I also find interesting is when I have these and put them into my journal and I have some left over, because I'm sure that not every of these labels will go into that journal because it's already pretty full. But when I have something left over, the good thing is I already have it, right? And then I can put it into my stash, and when the right day comes, I can use it for something else, or the right journal comes. And that, in my eyes, also makes the journal where the leftover labels will go in, that makes it more interesting as well and more unique, because then it would be like a really happy coincidence, even if coincidences are not existing, that they match. You know, when I have, for example, let's say a botanical journal in March and everything is green, and I would interpret this fluff not as the catty stuff anymore, but as something botanical, then it could work as well in another journal. Also, this is relatively neutral, but it would make the other journal into something special as well if I would use that then there, because it's, you know, originally it was made for something else. And I find that interesting. There is a big difference in the long eyelash yarn and the plain or regular thinner kind. Okay, I have to check that out later, Melissa. Thank you very much for that information. It is interesting. These breads are so weird. They are really nice because the legs are not so long, but these are very soft. And when you put them through the paper, it sometimes happens that one leg goes in between of the layers. A little bit nerve-wracking. So machen wir das vielleicht mal so. Diese kleinen Musterbeutelklammern, die sind ja wirklich toll. Aber das Problem ist, dadurch, dass die so kurz sind, sind diese Füße ein bisschen weich. Und manchmal passiert das, wenn man nicht aufpasst, dass das eine Beinchen hier zwischen die zwei Teile geht, die man damit aneinander machen will. Und das andere Beinchen geht durch das Loch. Und dann hat man da voll die Katastrophe am Start, weil dann am Ende hier unter dem Papier nicht beide rauskommen, sondern nur eins. Weil die so weich sind, dass sie sich teilweise darunter schieben. Saturn trifft Pluto. Diese Blümchen sind gemacht mit einer Handstanze. Eine Sekunde bitte. Zeige ich dir. Und zwar mit dieser hier. Da kommen dann immer gleich so ganz viele. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Stück auf Mal. Und die habe ich einfach aus so ein bisschen Restepapier ausgestanzt vor einem halben Jahrhundert. Weißt du, auf Vorrat ausgestanzt. So, vielleicht sollte man hier auch erstmal durchstechen, Luise. Das könnte schon auch helfen. So. Dann haben wir das doch hier schon. This table is just too small. So then let's take the journal. Let's see where 1, 2, 3, 4 of these could make sense. Nice position, but can you see? This fits way better because of this color and this color. And I think I will take some double-sided tape to attach these. Liquid glue would of course also work, but I find it easier to use double-sided tape here, because then I don't have to wait until the glue is dry before I flip the page. Ich benutze hier einfach ein bisschen doppelseitiges Klebeband, um das hier aufzukleben. Mache ich aber nur in diesem Moment, weil da muss ich nicht warten, bis der Kleber getrocknet ist, bevor ich umblättern kann. Weil irgendwie habe ich immer ein bisschen Schiss, dass, trotz dass das Buchbindelein ist und der relativ schnell anzieht, dass es sich trotzdem noch irgendwie verschiebt, wenn man umblättert. Und so kann das halt nicht passieren und es hält trotzdem gut. What I also always find really interesting is, for example, something like this. When you have a pocket also, this is a pocket. And by the way, this is a freebie for the MESSY CATMAS collection. You can get that on my website. Das da ist ein Freebie. Kriegst du auf meiner Homepage, wenn du willst. And what I find really cool is when we have a pocket and then, can you see that? Add that here, so that the pocket then gets a little different shape than it had before. And I think now my tape is too wide. Give me a second. Put that here to the very edge. And how wide is this? I think we can just stick it down here. If this was wider, then you could also, of course, use 2 pieces of double-sided tape next to each other, or a wider one, obviously. Oh, that is cute. I just started with my MESSY CATMAS junk journal. You are giving me so many great ideas and tips. Oh, thank you so much. That makes me really happy, because, you know, I'm sitting here and if you weren't writing the comments, I would talk to myself. Yeah. That is sometimes a little bit weird. Feels a little bit weird. And when I then read something like that, that obviously makes me very happy. Would make me even more happy if you could be here and, you know, we could talk about that, but that is unfortunately not possible. What do we think about this? This could work. Let's do that. So, of course, you could now go through your journal with all of these laying around and then decide where you want to put them. I will do this a little strategically now as well. This I will attach here for now. I will then take all of the wait, but I want, that is not true. I want one of these in the journal as well with the cat, and then the others with the stamped cat, I mean, and then the others will go into, I'm sorry, this little box here for the moment, and then later I can see if I still have enough space to add them here, because I don't want that my journal gets too bulky. If I decide that I don't have enough space because it's getting too bulky, then I will save the others for another journal. And if they will fit in here, they will go in here. But I want to avoid that I have the fattest journal in the world later. Oh my goodness, what happened here? Also ich werde jetzt hier, das hier wird das letzte sein, was ich hier rein tue in dieses Journal. Das klingt jetzt erstmal total seltsam, aber das ist eine ziemlich gute Strategie, finde ich, wenn man das so macht, weil dann kann man später noch entscheiden, ob die anderen auch noch da reinpassen oder nicht. Und ich möchte nicht, dass das zu fett wird, dieses Journal. Oh. Und deshalb werde ich, das ist das letzte, was ich hier aufklebe, die anderen kommen dann erstmal da in diese Box, die ich da gerade schon ins Bild gehalten hatte. Und wenn ich dann hier weiter fortgeschritten bin mit dem ganzen Ding, dann kann ich später immer noch entscheiden, ob ich noch mehr von diesen Dingern da reinmachen kann, weil sie noch reinpassen. Wenn ja, kommen sie rein. Wenn nein, werde ich sie mir aufheben für ein anderes Journal. Ich hoffe, das macht irgendwie Sinn, weil ich möchte nicht, dass das hier so ein richtig fettes Teil wird, obwohl es schon sehr dick ist, aber das schaut nur so dick aus. In Wirklichkeit ist das gar nicht so krass dick. Is there a thing as too bulky? Well, this is still really, it's, when it's like so, you think, what the heck happened to this journal? When you then press here, you realize that it's only this stuff here, this fluff, which makes the pages come up a little bit, and then there's really much space in between. And when you close it, and when I have it on my table like so, it's just okay. It's perhaps, to be very honest, is coming up the tiniest little bit, but I can see there's still space. Look, when I press here, if I would add a closure, it would be absolutely no problem, and it's still space. This is, wait, this would then be the maximum for me. I don't want it that it's like so, even if that also would be, you know, nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I still have this much space. Yeah. I think it's funny that Louise won't use foamies because she's worried about it. Yeah. What should I say? I find even the word foamies is very, very funny. So then we have all of these left to either also add to the journal or later on use for something else. Ich zeige die nochmal kurz, die ich jetzt hier übrig habe, die ich jetzt entweder dann noch später da rein tun kann oder halt für was anderes benutzen. Das hier finde ich besonders cool. Irgendwie mit diesem Gold, was auf der Blume schon ist, finde ich das irgendwie ziemlich interessant. This here I like really much because of this gold, which already was on the paper, you know, where I punched the flower from. I think gold is a really cool combination for, or with, for a cool combination color for this paper collection. Some golden splatters could also make sense on these, I would think. I will not add them now because, as I said, it could happen that these will go into another journal. They don't fit into this anymore. And then perhaps another color for the splatters could make sense. You know, that's why I don't add the splatters now. Hier, finde ich, goldene Spritzer könnten ganz gut passen. Die werde ich aber jetzt nicht drauf machen, auch wenn ich mir das jetzt gerade denke, weil wenn diese Teilchen später nicht in dieses Journal reingehen, dann passt vielleicht eine andere Farbe an Spritzern besser und dann habe ich da goldene Spritzer drauf. Das wäre ja ein bisschen blöd, oder? Und diese Zahl, ne? Dieser Stempel, das wird ja immer mal hier so ein Favorit bleiben, ne? You want to buy my collage stash? Stay away. Behave. I'm just kidding. That is obviously a really big compliment. Thank you very much, Melissa. But to be honest, if someone would come and offer me a ton of money for my collage stash, I would think, go away, take your money and go away, or keep your money and go away, because I need this stuff, you know. I always have not enough of the stuff to throw into journals. I'm always facing the problem that I think I need these tiny ephemera pieces and I need more of them, and you know, you can never have enough of this stuff, because you make a journal and then all of that goes in there and then, you know, your stash is empty again. And do you know what? Can we please talk about upside down numbers in another video? Can we please take a look at this? Warum schaut das bitte so geil aus, wenn das auf dem Kopf ist? Why does this look so interesting, even if it's upside down, or perhaps especially because it is upside down? I will take this and put that somewhere, I think here, next to my photo of someone. You know, it's this photo here. So that I remember that I want to try something with that because I'm thinking, why is that? When it's like so, it's not so interesting, but on the other one, why is that? Why is that? Can you see that? I mean, it's the same stamp, isn't it? But this is absolutely cool. Oh my goodness, I'm just getting a really cool idea. Now my brain is really like, you know, can you hear it? This will definitely go there, back next to the photo. I need to try something with that, and then you will hopefully see that in 2026 at some point. So that's it for today. If there are any questions left, then please feel free to throw them out now. Time is running. Just kidding. Falls ihr noch irgendwelche Fragen habt, wäre jetzt der Zeitpunkt gekommen, in dem ihr die stellen könntet. Ansonsten würde ich mich jetzt in den, nicht Feierabend, aber auch nicht Ruhestand verabschieden. Aber in so etwas Ähnliches wie, wir sind hier fertig und wir können uns dann der nächsten Aufgabe widmen. Oh, thank you so much, Jens. That's very kind. Thank you. Okay, so then, oh, you have a special playlist with those lives? Oh, that is cute, thank you. Oh, you are so cute. Oh, Megan, I'm sorry that you missed that. Yeah, it was relatively spontaneous, but I will save the video on my channel, of course, so that you can also later watch the replay if you want. Sehr gerne, liebe Astrid. Vielen Dank, dass du dabei warst und auch an alle anderen Deutschsprachigen. Schön, dass ihr da wart. Das freut mich sehr. Dann werde ich mich jetzt hier mal vertschüssen und wir sehen uns hoffentlich beim nächsten Mal. So, I will go now. And I'm really hoping to see you the next time. Have a very great day and see you soon. Bye.